Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling is a very enticing matchup, but I will say, even as a huge Sean O'Malley fan, it seemed like there was a predictable outcome favoring Aljamain Sterling. In his 9 fights leading up to this fight, Aljo has used his decent stand-up and remarkable grappling to win the title and beat top opponents. All that aside, let's be real, for whatever reason, nobody likes the guy. Everyone was rooting for Sean leading into this past weekend's fight, and Sean did not disappoint. Defending takedowns and using his shifty movement, Sean O'Malley finished Aljamain Sterling in the second round. But this led me to wonder, what if, like many other sports, we saw these opponents fight each other like a real playoff series? So I took these opponents, put them into the UFC game in a 7-fight series, eager to find out who would end up winning. Let's begin with fight number 1. Round 1 of fight 1, Sean lands multiple big shots and manages to stuff a Sterling takedown. Both men managed to get rocked in the first round of this fight. Both of these guys are just slinging shots. Sean finishes the round strong, clearly up 1-0 in the fight. Round number 2. Sean is dominating at the 2-minute 10-second mark, and then Sean ends up getting hurt. Amidst that, he also ends up duck underneath a fatal head kick thrown by Aljamain Sterling. Yet again, Sean manages to finish the round strong and somehow doesn't finish Sterling after he knocks him down near the end of round number 2. The third round, Sean knocks him down with a nasty combo, but unable to finish Sterling yet again, Sterling showing some championship resiliency. Now, aside from that, Sean manages to end the fight with the most insane knockdown I may have ever seen. Sean leads the series 1-0. Fight number 2. Starting the fight, Sterling starts with success, but still, for whatever reason, cannot get Sean down to the canvas. Finally, Sterling ends up scoring a takedown in the center of the octagon, which is very obviously bad news. Grabbing a leg, going for a heel hook, Sterling ties up the series 1-1 with a dominant submission, and it's clear, the second this fight hits the mat, Sean is in a lot of trouble. That's very realistic too, if you think about it. We all feared, as Sean O'Malley fans, if this fight gets to the floor, he's in trouble. Fight number 3. First 30 seconds, Aljo is pressing, finishing the first minute of the fight with a takedown attempt getting stuffed. I'm pretty sure he went for that takedown because he's got a nice cut in his head, but both men are not slowing down, throwing combinations, and both of them really landing clean shots. Aljo, for the second time, gets his takedown stuffed, and the cut is clearly bothering him. I'm sure at this point he's getting pretty frustrated that he can't get Sean down. Sean, yet again, slinging shots, ready to finish the fight. Early spinning heel kick rocks Aljamain Sterling, but he returns some nice shots of his own. Sean lands an uppercut, which causes Aljo to go for a takedown. Yet again, it's stuffed by Sean. Sean gets dropped by a beautiful kick placed to the body from Aljo. 1 minute, 35 seconds, another takedown stuffed by Sean. Sean rocking Aljo. Aljo is out on his feet, gets knocked, but stands back up immediately. Both men throwing ridiculous shots. Side kick landed from Sean, under a minute left in the first round. Takedown from Aljamain Sterling, stuffed by Sean, who then lands a knee in the process. Aljo is bleeding bad. Sterling came out the aggressor in the first round, but it's clearly Sean who ends up taking the first round of fight number 3 against Aljamain Sterling. In round number 2, Aljo gets his cut cleaned up really well between rounds. Both men landing leg kicks to start the round. Sean checks a kick from Aljamain Sterling and is clearly putting Aljo in pain from there. Aljo goes for the takedown yet again, stuffed by Sean. Sean landing clean shots after the break. 1:40 left in the second round, Aljo gets another takedown stuffed, and the cut on his face is clearly opened up with a drastic amount of blood coming from his head. His stamina is also showing this wear and tear. 1 minute left in the second round, Aljamain Sterling gets rocked by Sean O'Malley. And at this point, I was kind of confused because Sean seemed very tentative on finishing the fight. Aljo is clearly hurt, but is so tough and just will not go out. Aljo is beyond hurt. Sean is literally just lighting him up at this point. Aljo goes for a single leg takedown, which is yet again stuffed by Sean O'Malley. Sean clearly takes round number 2 and finishes the round in the closing seconds with a beautiful 1-2. Round number 3, 30 seconds in. Aljo is back out on his feet, working his way back to his feet, but is tight to the cage. Spinning back fist by Aljo leads to him getting head kicked, but he is still pressuring. Aljo is beyond hurt at this point, but still landing shots. Knee to the body by Sean leads to a takedown attempt by Aljamain Sterling, and it's stuffed by Sean O'Malley. A beautiful 1-2 putting Aljo back down. The fight isn't close, but Aljamain Sterling still is able to stay in this fight and rocks Sean O'Malley with a head kick. He is so exhausted, He's unable to follow up and finish the fight from there. Sean pushes Aljo back a little bit with a beautiful landed leg kick. Spinning back kick to the head brings Aljamain Sterling to the mat yet again. He gets back up, going for a takedown out of desperation, but Sean O'Malley then lands to the head and to the body, pushing Aljamain back. A single jab ends the fight for Aljamain Sterling. Sean O'Malley champion yet again. Fight number 4. Both men are a bit tentative in the first minute of the fourth fight. Aljamain attempts to take down Sean O'Malley, but he backflips off the mat, standing right back up, landing a head kick in the process. Aljo, the one pushing the pace, getting Sean up against the cage, but Sean is able to break away from the clinch and create a little bit of distance. Spinning back kick misses from Sean. Finally, Aljo goes for a takedown and gets it. We will see if Sean is able to defend against Aljamain Sterling's incredible grappling skills. Side control for Aljamain Sterling. He gets the crucifix, and with ease, Sterling taps Sean O'Malley with an Americana submission, retaining the bantamweight title. This series comes to 2-2. Regardless if you do not like Aljamain Sterling, his grappling is simply top tier. And the second he gets Sean to the mat, he's able to submit him with ease. In fight number 2, and now fight number 4. Fight number 5. Body kick lands for Sean O'Malley. Both men a bit tentative in the first minute of fight number 5, knowing it's a 3-fight series at this point. Defended takedown for Sean O'Malley, landing some beautiful shots right after the takedown is stuffed. A beautiful combination lands for Sean, pushing Aljo back heavy on his back foot. Spinning back fist blocked, but clearly causing an effect, and Aljamain Sterling is now cut open on the same side of his face, just as he was earlier in these fights. Aljamain knocked down with a beautiful kick combination from Sean O'Malley. Aljo takedown no good. Sean O'Malley defends it. Beautiful jab at 2:25 of the round for Sean O'Malley. Takedown attempted for Aljo, defended by Sean O'Malley yet again, and an elbow to break the clinch. Spinning back kick blocked by Aljamain Sterling, but another combination landing for Sean O'Malley. Sean is clearly running his energy low and takes a step back to regain his stamina. Starting round number 2, for some reason, these men managed to touch gloves. I guess at this point, they're starting to earn a bit of respect for each other. Sean taking a few steps back immediately to begin the round, but wastes no time landing some clean combinations on Aljo. Kick lands for Sean O'Malley, rocking Aljamain Sterling, but Aljo manages to recover really well. Regardless, that cut is opened up bad again, and between rounds, it doesn't look like they're able to doctor that cut very well. Left uppercut lands for Sean. Aljo is hurt bad again on his back foot, on his bike, trying to get away from Sean as fast as possible. Right straight lands for Sean, putting Aljo down again. Sean O'Malley goes for a head kick, but Aljo grabs on for a takedown, and finally landing Sean on his back. And Aljo was working his ground game. This is not a good sign if you're a Sean fan. He needs to get back up. Aljo doing what he does best, the human backpack, but Sean is able to get his back to the mat. At this point, Aljamain is dominating him. There's a clear disadvantage there on the ground favoring Aljo. For 3.5 minutes straight, Sean is trying to get up, but Aljo is just working his ground and pound and preventing Sean from standing back up in the process. That manages to close out the round, and Aljo is likely taking round 2. He's hurt, but he won the second round. In the start of round number 3, Sean O'Malley rocks Aljamain Sterling, clearly owning the stand-up similarly to how Aljamain is owning the ground game. Uppercut lands for Sean, and Aljo is out on his back, and he's literally out cold. Sean O'Malley retains the title, and the series is 3-2, favoring Sean. Moving on, fight number 6. If Sean O'Malley can win fight number 6, he will close out the 7-fight series. And I think what we have learned through these many fights between these two fighters is that Sean clearly favors the stand-up, and Aljamain clearly favors the ground game. But that last fight, Sean surviving for 3.5 minutes off his back may have been what he needed to give him the confidence to go to the floor with Aljo. Spinning heel kick lands on Aljo, but he takes it like a complete champ. Aljo goes for a desperate takedown, defended by Sean O'Malley. Sean showing yet again that if you're going to stand with him, you're going to pay the price. Big head kick lands again for Sean. Big body knee landed for Aljo. Overhand right lands for Sean, followed by some blocked strikes from Aljo. 20 seconds left, round 1. Overhand right lands for Sean, followed by some blocked strikes from Aljo. Round number 2. Sean starts by landing some big shots. 90 seconds left in round 2, and Aljamain Sterling, who was winning the first half of the round, is the one that is getting rocked. Takedown attempt stuffed by Sean O'Malley has Sterling against the cage. Huge shots lands for Sean O'Malley. Big kick, both men clearly looking for the KO. 25 seconds left in the first round, and Aljo gets dropped by a big kick. Sean yet again finishes round number 2 on top, but unable to finish the fight. Round number 3, Sterling is hurt, wobbling backwards towards the cage. Sean yet again a bit cautious to finish the fight, clearly waiting for his moment. Looking at both men's stamina, it's clear that Sean O'Malley has the advantage. Regardless of that though, Sterling is landing some clean shots. Aljo ends up on his back again. Beautiful shots landing for Sean O'Malley. Gets in the guard. Sterling is able to push him off, stand back up. Takedown attempt stuffed by Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley with the question mark kick, and Aljo ducks underneath. It seems like it's just a matter of seconds until Sean O'Malley finishes the fight. Body kick lands for Sterling, but he gets dropped yet again. Sean lands in the guard of Sterling, throwing some shots. Sterling able to close his guard, but Sean works to a half guard. Sterling works back to a full guard. Sean back to a half. Side control is there for Sean O'Malley. Sterling in clear trouble, whether they be standing or on the ground at this point. Sean ultimately lets Aljo back up. Kick lands for Sean O'Malley. He gets on top of Aljo, and that's it. Sean O'Malley proves that he is the way better bantamweight and wins the series 4-2. Now, this likely will never be a format in mixed martial arts. I think it just involves way too much of the same fighters fighting over and over again. There's very few times we've seen fighters fight in trilogies or more than that. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to see the consistencies that were formed through these fighters fighting in a 7-fight series. I've done it in hockey, I've done it in basketball, and I'm starting to do it more in UFC. And really what we're going to see is more fighters paired up against each other to see how the fights fare out and who comes out the better fighter. I appreciate you tuning in for today. My fighter that I would have chose from the start of this was Sean O'Malley, if you didn't guess by now. And I am pumped to say that he is, even in the UFC game, the better fighter.